Hi, welcome to the Closet Philosophy Podcast. This is Jennine. I'm a personal stylist.
And this is Kristen. I'm a fashion writer, and we're here to uncover the ways that your personal style is so much more than just clothes.
Whether you realize it or not, what you wear touches on science, psychology, culture, politics, and so much more.
Hey, Jennine.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh my God. I have recently just come to this place in my life where I am okay not shopping.
Oh, that's exciting.
Isn't it?
That's seems like potentially a departure for you.
Well, I mean, okay, so I, was a reseller for a while, like a clothing reseller, and I was
Yeah.
like going to the thrift store like every day to get like inventory. And then I started making content and my content just took off. And then I started styling and I kept telling myself, I need clothes to style, I need clothes to experiment, I need to break things down. So I quit reselling, but I didn't quit thrifting. And I was like thrifting at one point, like every single day. And I think like I would spend like, up to like $900 a month thrifting on thrift clothes. And my closet was full. The rag was sagging. It was full like of things that I wasn't wearing. And I had like garbage bags full of clothes and it was all like shoved in the closet. So it was like packed full of clothes.
Oh my
I
God.
had my racks. I have this whole like shelf system behind me that's like full of clothes. I have a shoe rack that holds like 40, 50 pairs of shoes. And it was just so much stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, not to make you feel any worse about it, but that is not even, that's not like your bedroom. That's like your office, right?
Yeah, this my
Like,
office that used to be my dining room, but now it's my office. And
I
so it's
remember when it
like,
was your dining room. I think
yeah,
I dined there once or twice.
yeah. But now it's like a studio, and now it's basically like a closet, and I still that's it's still not enough space. And so
Yeah.
I was just like,
Sounds like you had like a come to Jesus moment, as they
I
call it.
I did.
Yeah.
And so I felt so bad about like going online and telling people you don't need to shop, you don't need to buy new clothes, you don't need to follow trends. And yet, like had this like dirty little secret where I was like shop and like a lot of people were saying like, oh, like it's your job, you're a stylist, like you make content, this is part of what you do. And I just realized that no, it's not. It's
Really? Because I
it's
was honestly going to say, it is, it really is it's your job to style clothes and get creative with clothes.
mhm,
And I totally can understand why you would go down that path and why, I mean, if I lived where you live and I could walk down to an amazing thrift store like every day, and
mhm,
plus it was a little bit of a social thing for you, it sounds like you
mhm.
would see people you knew and say hi. And I don't fault you like at all for going down that path, but it sounds like you came to a point where you realized like, oh, this is way too much. Like I need to rein it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. That was like I would realize like I was like I'm going every single day and I'm buying and I've like I think it was actually when we were at Crossroads and
Mm.
everybody was like buying stuff and I just was filled with anxiety. I was like, well,
Oh,
where am I going to put like, do I
oh,
even need anything? I was like looking at every single item of clothing. Like, I already have something like that. Like, I already have something like that. Like,
is
and it was
that
just,
is that why you didn't buy that amazing sequin set?
yeah, I didn't buy the amazing sequin set because I knew I wouldn't wear it. And I already have a sequin blazer and I haven't worn
Oh,
it. So it was like, I was
you were
just
starting to
like,
have these realizations like, maybe I don't need all this stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like the crazy part is that, we have like all of these like channels that have all of these thrift hauls and we're all
Mhm.
saying like, oh, it's like we can do this without feeling bad because we're not hurting the environment, we're saving clothes from landfills, but that's not really true because like I think, we're consuming like we consume fast fashion and it's better than fast fashion, but still like the process of taking things from the thrift store and then redonating them, like you think like, oh, I'm just giving it back to the thrift store. No, like you're giving it back to their donation centers. They have to have people that sort through all the clothes and sort through like what is saleable and what's not. They have to put them on racks. It's like a lot of labor just to get it on the floor. And the thrift stores are like overwhelmed. They're like choking. And so a lot of the clothes, like I think it was something like only like 20% of what's donated actually makes it into a thrift store.
Yeah, I actually just had that statistic up in front of me. If I can find it again, I don't know if I can, but
Only
that
15% of clothing in the United States is recycled.
only 15.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that, and I don't think people realize that. I think that people or recycled or repurposed.
yeah.
So, I mean, I drive by a Safeway every day that I go to my gym,
hmm
and there's one of those donation bins where you can pull down that thing and put it in.
hmm
And today there were giant piles like all around it. And I think that's not that uncommon. I mean, there were just like so many piles all around it because I don't think you could fit anything inside of it anymore.
Mm,
And so, I mean, and all that stuff that's sitting out in the weather is probably never gonna get worn again. It's gonna go into a landfill.
yeah.
And as it's been in the news a lot lately that like this clothing ends up in places like Ghana on the coast, and you see these videos of mountains, like literal mountains of clothing on these previously gorgeous beaches, and
hmm
people trying to sift through them, and women carrying the giant packages on their heads. And that
Yeah.
that was a disturbing thing I read about recently, was that in those like reselling markets, those women actually get physically injured from carrying these things on their heads. They get like compressed cervical spines, and they can be like permanently disabled because from carrying these giant things. And it all just speaks to too much volume. There's like too much. There's too much.
There's too much. And, like, think I think in the last like 6 years, we consumed 75% of what we did in the entire 20th century, according to the
So for an
circularity.
entire
Yeah.
100 years.
For 100, we consumed 75% of what 100 years did in 6 years. And so, and that's not all clothes. There's like a lot of stuff that we're consuming. But,
Hmm.
we like this is not just me and my shopping habit. This is like a zeitgeist. And it's crazy because I just really had that come to Jesus moment where I was just like in the thrift store, just knowing that I was there, not because I needed clothes, but because I was there because I was like soothing my nervous system, that I was,
Mm.
like either like I was sad or I was going through stuff or I was happy or it was like tied to my emotions and also like this whole idea of wanting to be something that I'm not. Like being
Oh,
something like external, like, oh, I'm trying to find my style and I'm trying to experiment with style. And I did a lot of like really cool stuff. Like I was experimenting with some like pants and some altering like menswear and I thought that
oh
that was
yeah.
really cool. But at the same time, like it had an anxiety, like a chasing anxiety to it. And I knew that wasn't right and it wasn't good for my style. So I stopped. It wasn't like immediately stopped, but kind of gradually stopped. I stopped going every day. Then I was going like once a week, and I wasn't buying anything. I was just going in the store and looking, and I'd walk away empty-handed. And I realized I was just like, I have everything. Like I have
Mm.
everything I need, and I just need to organize it in a way that I can use it and I actually use it. And so that was the kind of the beginning of me kind of honing in on what I'm now calling my wardrobe ecosystem.
Hmm.
And that's like 40 pieces. Actually, technically it's 42 because two of them are sets, but I
Mm.
never wear them. I never break up those sets. So
Like a jumpsuit.
it's like a jumpsuit, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I was like, okay, I actually have built capsules for the better part of 2 years, and I know how to put together a functioning capsule. What if I did it for an entire wardrobe? And so, like, instead of just the capsule, just 10 pieces going together, I had an entire wardrobe. And I, I don't, at first I was thinking, oh, 30 pieces. But then I was like, no, that's a little bit crazy. And then I was thinking, well, how about 40? So we have 4 seasons, we have 40 pieces. And I think 40 is a good number. And so I was just like, okay, let's try 40 pieces, like see what we can do. And I was able to actually pretty quickly put together like, I don't want to call it a capsule, but like a wardrobe that all works together. And so I don't have any like outlier or like weird pieces. Like I don't know how to wear this piece. Like I know how to wear all of the pieces. And it just became like really apparent to me. It was like, oh my gosh, like this is how you find, do you quote unquote find your style? It's not in going out there and going shopping all the time. It's in wearing the clothes that you have.
Yeah.
Because if you're not wearing the clothes that you have, and you're always buying something new, you're never giving yourself the chance to really like something and love something and really get to understand like how to wear it. Because
Hmm.
if you just buy something in the beginning, it's like, oh, this is so exciting. I love it. It's a brand new. Like when you wear something new, it's like, oh, it's a new piece. Like I love it. And that's not
That's not
really,
style.
it's
That's
not
dopamine.
that's dopamine. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're not liking that.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like I almost want to say like a weird crush or something, or like
Yeah. Like
somebody
the
who's like
honeymoon period.
the honeymoon period. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so great. I love it. And then you get to the reality of it and it's like, oh, do I actually like this? And it's
Yeah.
like for a lot of people, it's like, no.
And sometimes that doesn't even make it to the to wearing it. Like sometimes it's just about like buying it and like having it in your closet and you're so excited and then you go to wear it and you're like, "Oh, I don't even actually like this." You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also like I just kept thinking as you were talking like if you feel like you've sort of fallen victim almost to this like overconsumption, you're like buying more things than you need and you're kind of, reacting emotionally to shopping, which of course like I've done, we've all done. But it makes me think about like just sort of the average person out in the world who's not like a stylist and not like doing this for their work, but
Mhm.
they have all this clothing presented to them at these cheap stores and on Shein online, TikTok and Instagram and everything. You know, groceries are through the roof, but they can get a shirt for like $6. And
Yeah.
so, what is that doing to everybody's psyche? Like it's like just creating this like too much wanting, too much desire for clothing, and it's not really their fault. It's not the consumer's fault really, and I think we need to be aware of overconsumption and like try to make changes within ourselves and maybe like, the those of us who have boycotted various, Amazon, and I know that we both boycotted Target and, and I don't think either of us shopped at Shein or anything like that. So, I mean, that's not meaningless, but at the same time, I think it's really up to like there needs to be some kind of regulation because I don't see any like huge change happening unless
Mhm.
the companies, like the corporations, are somehow held responsible. Like
Yeah.
when are they going to be held responsible? It's really not fair to tell the consumer. And also just say like we are operating from a place of relative privilege. Like
Mhm.
I can afford to be like, okay, I'm going to save up and buy these expensive pants because they're sustainable and they're super well made. I know I'll have them for a long time, but other people just have to go to work and, just trying to make everything happen every day and, have their have clothes to wear, and not have to
Yeah.
spend an arm and a leg on it. So yeah, I feel like it's just really unfair to the regular consumer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like the way that our society works is that it's training you to buy. Like we are, there's this really great documentary called The Century of the Self, and
Oh,
it was like, it's a Ken Burns documentary. It's on YouTube. It's totally free. It's like 4 hours, blows your mind. It'll change the way it works. So basically, like in World War I, there's an Industrial Revolution, and then there was World War I. In World War I, we had to produce all the weapons and all of the things for the war.
hmm.
And what they found is that that stimulated the economy. And when the war ended, they were like, well, how do we keep the economy going? And the answer to that was like, well, let's get people to buy stuff.
Yeah,
So, let's get people to and buy stuff that they don't need. And so this whole kind of conversation before World War I was like, oh, I buy something because I need it. And then they hired like psychologists. There's this man named Edward Bernays. He's actually Sigmund Freud's nephew, and he was hired. He's the guy, literally the guy who wrote the book on propaganda. Like
oh right.
he's literally the guy who wrote the book on
Oh my
propaganda.
God.
Goebbels loved the book, which was unnerving to not Ken Burns, but to Bernays, because Bernays was Jewish, and he's like, "Oh
Mm.
my God, I can't believe this guy is using my words for,
Oh,
doing what the Nazis did." But he said like we should tap into people's desires. And it's their desires that is going to drive their behavior. So there's actually been like psychological warfare on us for well over a century to make us into buying machines.
hmm.
Basically, all our purpose is to keep the economy going and keep making money for, the billionaire class. And, this is really interesting because like most of us don't have the time to even like recognize that.
Yeah,
And they are so laser precise into tapping into our emotions and our psychology that a lot of us don't even know that it's happening. Like I
yeah,
was at the thrift store like every day. I didn't even realize, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I buying like this? And it's because I've been programmed to do that. And the whole thing is that particularly with style, is that with style, we are programmed to buy new clothes. We're not programmed to actually put them together. So like,
right.
and like the answer is like, oh, you don't know what to do with your clothes. You have all these clothes that you don't wear. Okay, so then buy a capsule wardrobe of really boring clothes, and all of those boring clothes will all go together. But that doesn't work because most people don't live that kind of life where that kind of thing would look good or would work or even feel like them. So I just think that it's just really it's not like people internalize this as like I'm really bad at style.
Hmm.
And the reality is it's not a personal problem, it's a systemic problem because we're not taught really. Like some people are, but most of us are not taught like how to think creatively about the clothes that we wear or how to put things together or how to feel like ourselves.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, definitely not. And I think that people think it's like too hard, like it's too much work, too much to think about. So they just don't even want to. It's easier to go buy more clothes at Forever 21 or wherever you're going to buy your clothes. Did that go bankrupt? I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, I
But
can't keep up. So,
anyway, but yeah, and I also feel like there's this sort of sense of, even though there is so much clothing, there's this sense of lack kind of that people are operating from, that you're operating from like, oh, I need more. Like I need more and more because like you see things on Instagram, like they have all those things and I need to have what they have. Or
mhm.
there's this sense of like you're going to feel better about yourself if you buy these things that you see. And none of it actually has the desired effect, obviously, but it's just you think because you get that brief dopamine hit that you're gonna that it's gonna be better for your life, that your life is gonna be better if you buy all these clothes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was actually the result of campaigns. They
Mm.
literally had campaigns, like department stores hired publicists, like Edward Bernays. He's the father of public relations. And so they literally hired people to come in, get all, the women who were like shopping at the department store to come in to this like little panel talk or this panel discussion where they said like, oh, everybody all looks pretty much the same and you don't want to look like everybody else. And so you want to look like yourself and you need to express yourself. And
Oh.
and I don't want to paint it like self-expression is bad, but the solution to expressing yourself is consumerism.
Yeah, instead of it being like get creative with your clothing, it's like buy more clothing,
Hmm.
buy things that make you feel like you, but it's more about purchasing than styling, obviously.
Yeah. And then so
Yeah.
that happened like about 100 years ago. And so, I mean, how many generations? So like my grandparents were born in the 1920s. So my great grandparents got first exposed to this. My grandparents grew up with this idea, pass it on to my parents, that pass it on to me, and then maybe I'm passing it on to my children or child. And now we just think that that's how things are, but that's not how things, quote unquote, are. They were
Yeah.
designed.
Yeah, I mean, you always hear leaders saying, go shopping, fuel the economy, go shopping. And
Yeah.
it's interesting though, because 100 years ago, you could spread that sort of style of propaganda, but there wasn't the machine that exists now that cranks out tons of clothing made of polyester that you can buy for like $10. Like
Hmm.
that machine from the like if you think about Shein and their whole manufacturing and distribution system that they've got going on, like something like that takes that psychology and like makes it like puts it on steroids. Like
Hmm.
suddenly, I mean, even in the 80s when I was in high school, there you couldn't, I don't, there wasn't so much
No. Well,
volume. Like you
well,
couldn't, like it just didn't exist. But the way things are manufactured now is a whole other story.
yeah, and also too, now they have the data to know exactly what will push your buttons. And so, and
Mm.
this is like what they get from like, I hate to say it, like, social media. And so they collect the data on how you respond to things and like ads are served to you. Campaigns are developed to get you to think like, oh, I need better yellow clothes or I need like what is the new thing? Like people want to say knickerbockers, but they are capris, but they look like knickerbocker. I don't know. It's like,
Capris.
oh yeah, capris are the new thing and all of that kind of stuff. And they do like influencer campaigns and then people see this and like they're like, oh, I need that. And they've been influenced and then it kind of continues the cycle. And even like the algorithms, for example, like TikTok Shop is like making so much money because they have the data to know exactly who to serve these ads to. So and they'll bombard you. Like right now they're bombarding me with Clinique, Black Honey lip
Oh,
the Black
really?
Honey lipstick, and I was just like, I've already seen. I must have like watched it for like a couple more seconds, and now they're
Yeah.
like, I'm getting flooded with those. But like, it's really interesting, like how sophisticated these things are, and how much awareness that it takes for you to not just like become aware of what's happening, but to break free from it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really hard. I mean, like I was very gratified because the other day my husband we were talking about money and spending and it's always been a tension in my marriage. And he said, "Well, you're night and day from 10 years ago." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." Like I felt like, "Oh, I've progressed. I've evolved. I don't, I don't consume as much."
mhm,
But at the same time, it's not to say at all that I'm like free of the consumption machine. Like I still have these desires. I love clothes and sometimes like volume is I my brain prioritizes volume over like quality and need, you know.
mhm.
But it's a very
Yeah.
powerful emotional response. Like I actually remember being in high school in the 80s, and it was when Express first came to be. And that was like the most stylish store at my mall, at the mall, which you had to drive 40 minutes to get to from
Oh
my
my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. And there was a woman, a girl, who worked there, who that was like her, part-time job was working at Express, and she always looked so cool. And I remember this other girl in class, like she had all these sets. It was like a mini skirt, one of those like stretchy mini skirts, and then an oversized sweater that went over it. And she had like a different color combination for like every day. And I was like, I need that. I wanted it
Mm.
more than anything. Like I just remember feeling so passionately that I needed it.
Hmm.
And it's like really a primal part of your brain that it triggers. It's
Yeah.
not to be dismissed.
No, no. And that's the thing. It's like it really hits at this like desire to belong. It's this desire to be, to feel important, to feel loved, to feel
Yeah,
part of the in group. And
like you belong.
like you belong. And this is like very natural and healthy desire to have. But
Hmm.
it's been co-opted. And
Hmm.
so like, and I don't want to leave people feeling depressed because I do believe that there is a way out. And I'm like, for the first time, actually the first time in my life, do I feel like, oh, I know my style.
That's cool.
I know my style. I know how to feel like me, and I'm not chasing that sense of approval and stuff. And then I know because even like last night, like I did it like a little bit, like I was like on the real and I was like looking for like I need something that's different. And because I saw a podcast who were gonna Astra, where like these gloves that were like she had like
Oh
the
my God.
yeah, these
Yes,
like
I saw
balloon
those.
gloves. And like I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, she had this like plain red dress and she goes, I need to dress this up. And then she put on these like brown gloves that had like instead of being opera gloves, it was like almost like a balloon, like
Yeah.
and it was just it's such a statement piece. I'm like, oh my God, that made the whole thing come together. But then I was thinking like that's not even me. Like, would I even wear that? Like, would I even feel like myself? And that it was just like the kind of the moment, like I'm chasing
Mm,
right now. And then I was like, okay, I put the app down and, I went into my closet and I was just looking like, well, how can I create something that feels like me? And that's a whole other conversation than how can I look like somebody else?
right.
Or how can I get the attention that she got because
Mm,
she had those cool gloves? Like I want
hmm.
cool gloves like that too. And just even having that self-awareness gives you the pause. It gave me the pause to be like, okay, I need to return back to who I am. And I just have to say, like, in this kind of, I know I'm like 50 years old. I can't even believe that this is like just now I'm coming to this point in my life where I'm like, this is who I am. And if you don't like, okay, it
Some
happened with
people never get there, so.
some people never get, yeah, you know what happened? I recently had this experience in my life where I was like really not liked. Like
Mm-hmm.
people like don't like actively do not like me. They
Because of
think
the
I'm
rats,
yeah, the rats. Yeah,
which is a whole other story.
because
Maybe
I
for,
wanted to get rid of rats. They hate
yeah.
me. And because they want to live with rats. Anyways, they hate me. And I just realized I was like, you know what? Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And that whole thing just kind of like clicked. I don't need to be liked by everybody. Like in, because like what do I have to like bend myself so I'm liked by people who want to put rat traps in their dishwasher? Like,
No. The
no.
answer to that is a hard no.
The answer is a hard no.
Yeah.
And so this is like, okay, so I am okay. Like if somebody doesn't like me, it's more to do with them. I don't need to chase approval.
Yeah.
And that kind of rippled out like into my content. I stopped being like all like razzle dazzle. I just showed up like as I am. And I feel like a sense of like confidence in like putting the flag in the sand and making that decision. This is me. And it is so liberating. But that
Hmm.
could not have happened if I was continually shopping.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how many ripple effects something like that can have. Like this kind of
Mm.
started, it sounds like it kind of started with your dealing with the other people who live in your building, right? And then you realized I don't have to chase things, I don't have to people please. And then you realized like I don't need to go to the thrift store every day, I don't need to shop every day. And then you came up with this 40-piece wardrobe thing, which
Yeah.
can, that sounds like a whole new direction for kind of your business and what you're doing with your clients and stuff. So it's like pretty cool how
It's
many
kind of,
things that can affect.
yeah, I mean, this is the thing about life. It's like nothing exists in isolation. Everything has like some kind of influence in one way or another. And the thing is that we all go through something like this at one point or another. And it's just a matter of allowing yourself just to be.
Yeah, it's that whole like being comfortable with being uncomfortable thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just say like I did have a similar thing happen when I started teaching Pilates again.
Hmm.
I was very nervous to do it, like standing up in front of people, telling them what to do, and when I first went back to it, I people would have complaints. Like they would be like they didn't like my music or they would just have all these random complaints and I would freak out. I would go home and I would tell my husband, "Oh my God, these people like don't like me. They complained about this and that." And then all of a sudden I don't know, after it took like a year, honestly. After maybe like after like a year, I was like, why do I think I can please every single person who I teach in a group class? Like it's just not going to
Hmm.
happen. So I just need to do what I do.
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't like it, like that is kind of their problem. Don't come to my class anymore. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing
Sorry.
my best. I want to
Yeah.
give everybody the best class that they can have, but I can't
Yeah.
control how they feel. So, and that was very liberating, I have to say.
Yeah. Here's the thing. People say, oh, like if you like don't care what other people think, then, this is gives you license to be a jerk or to say mean things or to give up on life. I don't care what people think, so I'm just gonna not try with my outfits anymore. Or I'm giving up on life, right? And
Right.
so and that is a false dichotomy. And like I
Hmm.
don't know if that is propaganda. I don't know like where that comes from. Like it's either you're like people pleasing, you're in it, you're like trying to belong, or you're completely something else. And like that's not necessarily the truth. And so the truth is that there is multiple places, and one of those places is coming to a place of like creativity and honoring where you're at. So like whether it's your Pilates class or your wardrobe or whatever aspect of your life that you're dealing with, all of that can be honored once you decide to choose yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's so true. And like, yeah, saying that you don't care what people think might also just sort of be a misnomer. Like it's
mm,
not that I don't care what anyone thinks. It's that I know that I don't have control over someone who doesn't like my class necessarily. I can't
mm,
control that. I do want people to like my class. I want people to come back. I want it to be a good workout. I want people to feel like they've gotten something out of it. But
mm,
if someone just doesn't like a song I played or, they're like, why don't you teach it like this or what I have no control over that and that's the kind of thing that I have to just let go of. It
mm.
doesn't mean I don't give a shit about anything.
Yeah.
It's it's
Yeah.
different. There are
Exactly.
subtleties. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like the same thing with your styles. Like you can decide that you don't want to follow trends. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to look like a time warp or you're going to look bad or you're going to look
Exactly.
you just want to figure out like what is it that is yourself and just commit to that and honor it and like allow yourself to give yourself that space to explore without feeling like you have to chase anything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And then you realize that like shopping is not going to get you there. Like
it's
buying more and more and more things is not going to be the solution.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I could talk about this forever, but like, I would really love to hear from our listeners what they think and what their
Yeah.
experiences are with overconsumption and some of their stories and some of their realizations, because I think that whatever overconsumption is, what's on the other side of it can be really beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I would love to hear also. So if you're watching on YouTube, please comment, or where else can people comment? On Instagram. We're going to
On
be posting. Yeah.
Instagram, on Instagram, you can
Yeah.
email me at JanineJacob@gmail.com. I have another email address, but I never check it. So that's the one
So
I
don't
check.
email her there.
Don't email me there.
We also
So
have a Closet Philosophy email address. Maybe we should
yeah.
start checking it.
Yeah. Okay.
It
Or hey at
hey,
closetphilosophy.com. Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Hey at
Hey at
closetphilosophy.net.
closetphilosophy.net. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, I think that this year, 2026 is going to be, I don't want to say amazing because every time I say that, the year turns out to be crap.
Okay, don't
But
say
I'm
that.
going to say that I'm optimistic going in.
Me too. I'm really like have hopes for a good year. Knock on
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Well, that
right.
was fun, Janine. We'll be back soon
Yeah, we'll be
with
back
another.
soon. Oh yeah, we're going to talk all of this month about creativity and your style and a little bit more about overconsumption maybe or shopping and how to get away from, you know, the hamster wheel that is the trend cycle. So,
Yes.
all
Yes.
right. Well, thank you so much for joining and we'll see you next week.